And we can ride the broken, share back the love.
Shabbat. I apologize, everyone. I'm running a little bit late. I had technical difficulties here getting going. Weird error on StreamYard I never had before. So please forgive me. But we're gonna lock in. Sometimes you gotta build it while you fly. And I do apologize. I sincerely apologize. Let me get my notes pulled up. And we'll start cooking a little bit. This is going to be a little different flow today. I want to speak candidly and openly, more openly than I'm always open, but I want to show why this topic um I'm empathetic for this topic. So whoever it looks like I'm only broadcasting on YouTube, but I did share it to Facebook. So however you're watching me right now, I don't know what happened to the Facebook links. Join my YouTube channel, please. Like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. Make sure you click the bell so you get all the notifications. Um, I was thinking about changing my format and moving away from Facebook because sometimes it gets quirky, and there was a little problem with Facebook and StreamYard. Kept giving me errors. So I think I had to delete them. Um, but if you're here, I appreciate you. Um, I may also start going live on developing some type of Instagram flow as well, because you can't do a simulcast. StreamYard does a simulcast to Instagram, so you have to. A lot of people do those separately, so I may do that as well. We're gonna play with that though. So getting into the topic, whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her. And what I'm talking about is domestic violence, mental health, Will Smith's story was once my story. I know a lot of you know me, been following me for years. Some of you know me. But I don't always talk about this aspect of my life. I've never shied away from it. Um, but I don't talk about this topic with everybody. Um, I think in our community, we downplay domestic violence, and we only see domestic violence as man to woman. And that's another one of those tropes, those stereotypical tropes and propaganda that affects our community, because the truth is most domestic violence, and when I say most, I would, out of 100%, I would say 60% of it goes female to male. And I may be downplaying it. It may be higher, maybe like 70-30. But it's underreported. Even when men seek out help in those situations, there are no resources. And this is something I know personally. I was personally involved in these situations. And domestic violence isn't somebody physically whooping your ass all the time. That's not. Most domestic violence is mental and financial. Um, and then, next beyond that, I would say the kids get weaponized to hurt the man. But it's not talked about. Or the man is perceived as he's weak or something. A lot of men get wrapped up in these domestic situations and don't really realize or perceive themselves as a victim. I know I didn't. And it was kind of a shock to me when it was brought to my attention. And so I'm going to tell some stories today. I'm going to give some context to what I mean and what I'm saying. So bear with me, y'all. Like I said, it's gonna be slightly different because I'm getting a little personal. Most of you know I was married. My ex-wife, we were together nearly 20 years, or right at 20 years. Yeah, right at 20 years. And I was the victim of domestic violence. I didn't realize this until my cousin Tamika handed me a pamphlet. And when she handed me the pamphlet, this would have been 2008. I was in the hospital. How I got in the hospital, I had been dealing with my wife's infidelity for quite some time at that point. In hindsight, I never had my wife to myself out of them 20 years. It was always infidelity. I didn't know it was hidden. I was a worker. I went to work. I wasn't paying attention, concerning myself with those kind of things. Um, Somebody, I don't know if it was Judge Joe Brown or Kevin, somebody I was listening to yesterday, and they pointed out the fact that Jada was raised by her mother and her grandmother, and Will was raised in a two-parent household of middle-class people. That's my story. No matter where I went, there was always two parents. My grandmother, my grandfather, my aunts and uncles, my mother and my stepfather. I always saw that. You know, we were middle class people at that time. You know, it's a little different time now, but at that time they were middle class. So that's what I knew, and I thought, hell, all black people was normal. I had never wasn't until I met my wife, I had never met people like that. And I didn't really realize it until years later. And these people are different. Because that was my first exposure to the gynocracy. Hell, I didn't even know what that word meant. I never had even heard that word at that time, which is part of the reason, excuse me, where are my manners? You know, I got my hydration. I got the pineapple burning. Happy Thursday, everybody. It's a severely rainy day here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Nice weather though. I mean, it ain't cold. 60s in the 60s. You don't want to be here? Don't be here. But this is going to be a good one. So if you are here, please get to my YouTube, like, and subscribe. Because I'm gonna tell y'all some things about God, dog, about myself. Y'all know a lot of you may not know. So I mean, that was my first exposure to the gynocracy. And it caught me off guard. I was a young man. So my 20, like 22, 23, you know, trying to deal with issues I wasn't ready to deal with. I mean, legally you're a man, but I wasn't a man. I hadn't become a man yet. I was legally a man. And there's a difference, you know. And I'm saying this, and this is one of the reasons I tell you, young men, wait, get your shit together. And my shit was together. I had already been on the job for 10 years, roughly, almost 10 years at that point. I was a retention manager with McDonald's. Um, 10 years on the job, making good money. Hell, I had already bought and sold a house at that point, had been to college. So I had some experience, especially compared to most of my peers. I was way ahead of the game, you know. So now I'm building this family with this woman. And make no mistake, I loved her. I'm not gonna tell anybody I didn't love her. I wanted what my grandparents had. That's what I always wanted, you know. Wife, kids, house, go to work, come home, take a vacation every year. Just a regular middle class life. I had dabbled in entrepreneurism at that time. I was one of the first. You know, I had started businesses when I was in college. Oil and incense business. I had a printing business. I always did graphic designs, freelance. So the school would hire me to do different things, teach a HTML class, to do desktop publishing is what we called it at that time, not graphic designs. So I had some success at an early age. I had skills and I had some success. So anyway, flash forward to 2008. She wouldn't stop cheating. So I put her out of my house. And we were exchanging kids. You know, the kids lived with me. Um, and I had the house on the cul-de-sac, Bristol Creek Court in Charlotte. And kids lived with me. She moved back to with her mama and them. But we would swap kids, you know, every other week, every other weekend. If it was the summertime, she'd have them a week, I'd have them a week. School was in, she might get them on every other weekend kind of thing. And put out the house. This particular Friday, this weekend rather, it was her weekend to get the kids. She came and she asked, could Dream stay? Could my son stay? And because her and her sisters was doing some kind of girls' night, which didn't make sense to me at the time because her girls had nothing but boys. So I'm like, what the boys gonna be? Oh, I don't know. I guess they got babysitters. All right, whatever. I had just got Dream a new Ratchet and Clank game, so we was gonna play that game all night anyway. But gynocratic and hyena behavior, they want to control everything. And what she was trying to do by this, it wasn't about Dream couldn't go with them. It was more about controlling me because if she had taken Dream, that means I would have had a free weekend. I didn't have nothing to do anyway. I used to just go to sleep on my days off because I was working so much. But she wanted to try to manipulate, make sure I'm not dealing with nobody else and all that nonsense. So I said, of course my son could stay. Then she gets down there. They lived about 2 hours away in Albemarle. And we were living on Northwest Charlotte, just to give y'all a distance. So it's about 2 hours. Anyway, she gets there and calls me and, oh, you were right. You know, the boys are here. I could have got Dream. I said, yeah, I know. Well, I'm going to come back and get them in the morning. I said, you don't have to, but if you want to, okay. I didn't like breaking up Dream and Imagine. I like keeping them together. If you get one, you get the other. So that's what it was really about for me. And I like Dream to be able to protect his sister. I instilled that in him at an early age. That's why he's the protector he is today. So she said, well, I'll be back in the morning. All right, cool. She didn't have a car, so I assumed she had to catch a ride, borrow a car. I didn't know how she was getting doing it, but whatever. So she doesn't come the next morning at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock like she was supposed to. I had Dream up ready, and she didn't come. So I went back upstairs and went back to sleep. Dream was downstairs in the living room playing his game. Of course, when his mother came, he let her in. She didn't have a key because I had already changed the locks. So she had to be let in. And so Dream let her in. And she proceeds to go upstairs to my office. I had an office set up with my computers and my photography equipment. She goes through my shit. She looking for something just to be angry at. Nothing really. It's nothing serious, but she's gonna find something. Sound familiar? A la Jada. Cause see, Jada had just a couple weeks earlier, twice, matter of fact, she went on, I think, Entertainment Tonight, and one of them kind of shows, or her Instagram, and she was talking about how she loved her bald head and she didn't give a crap what nobody thought about it. Her bald head. She said that out of her own mouth. So how all of a sudden can this G.I. Jane reference, I'm not calling it a joke, it's a reference. I actually think it's a compliment, the G.I. Jane thing. Because what is the insult? She compared Jada to Demi Moore in an iconic role that was about women empowerment and feminism and all of that kind of stuff. For those of you who have never seen the movie, I suggest you go watch it. It was a great movie. And Demi Moore killed it. She looked great with the short hair, just like Jada does. But what the movie was about is she was going to be the first woman to qualify for the Navy SEALs, to be a Navy SEAL. That's it. She had to do everything the men could do. And all of the political pressure that she was facing, but she had this female senator who was in her corner pushing for it. And she overcame all these obstacles and the impossible. Why would that be an insult? Somebody please explain it to me. An insult, and hell, that might not. I could see if he had said, "Oh yeah, you're trying to rock that Grace Jones," Grace Jones used to do those, movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff. And she always had the pole and fighting and vicious, I thought Grace Jones was real brilliant in those movies, but I could see that being an insult. But Demi Moore and G.I. Jane? Nah, y'all. Looking for something to be angry at. That's what my ex-wife was doing. So she found some pictures on my computer of a photo shoot I had did almost 4 months earlier. I did a photo shoot with a young lady who I happen to know for a few years. We worked together. She was trying to do a risque photo shoot for her boyfriend because they had, she was in a doghouse with a boyfriend. She knew I was a photographer. She said, hey, I want to do something special for a boyfriend. And, because I love this man. I want to get him back. I want to do something special. I get it. Cool. I did those photo shoots all the time. It's not nudity. It's implied nudity. The girl was never naked. Beautiful girl. Not going to call her name because she don't need to be mentioned. But she's a good friend of mine. She may still be on my Facebook. Beautiful girl. Never had any dealings with her. She was my friend. Like many of you are my friends. So she tore up my office, flipped my desk over, threw everything down, my tripods, my light boxes, everything got destroyed. I'm asleep on the other side of the house. So I'm starting to hear stuff. What the heck am I hearing? Anybody who knows me knows I sleep hard. I could sleep through a train wreck. So I'm starting to kind of get up. And as I'm getting up, now she's in my bedroom. And next thing I know, I'm getting hit with a bottle or a glass on the top of my head. The blood was just pouring down my face. I had to end up, anyways, blood was pouring down my face. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Again, I'm just waking up. Now I got assaulted. And she took my son and left me there to bleed. And I'm not talking about drips. Like, it wasn't drips. Blood was pouring. Couldn't find my glasses. Wouldn't have mattered. There was so much blood on my face. Some kind of way, I get my cousin Tamika on the phone. And me and Tamika don't talk every day. So I don't know how I got Tamika on the phone, but God was looking out for me because she answered, and Tamika never answers right away. But that day she answered. And later on, Tamika tells me, you were passing out. I was trying to keep you awake, but you kept passing out, and she was screaming at me. She's the one that called the ambulance. The ambulance came through my garage because my garage was open. That was the easiest way to get in the house. And they took me to the hospital. My cousin and her daughter, Tamara, met me at the hospital. Now I'm starting to get lucid as they're pulling the glass shards out of my head. It was 5 big pieces of glass they pulled out of my head. I had to get 7 staples put in my head. While I was at the hospital, Tamika handed me a brochure for domestic violence. On one side of that brochure or the pamphlet was, it might have been like a 6x8 flyer, whatever. On one side was 20 characteristics of a person being abused. On the other side was 20 characteristics of a person who is an abuser. My wife had 19 of those 20 characteristics. I had never read them before. I had never seen nothing like it. You know, they do the different things that they do. Because again, my concept of domestic violence was somebody gonna whoop your ass, and she wasn't whooping my ass. But it's subtle, and it starts out. They try to control you sexually, financially. They want to isolate you from your family and your friends. They always got a problem with your family and friends. That's the way they isolate you. They want to control where you go. Everywhere you go is a problem. They accuse you of doing the things that they're doing. You know, you always mess with other women because that's what she was doing. She was the cheater, not me. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to anybody and say I never cheated on her. At that time, I cheated out of loneliness in reaction to what she was doing. And I had waited 2 years of neglect and being denied sex before I cheated one time. And I never had no long-term relationship. Okay? Because they play on your weakness. And I made the mistake of not protecting my weakness. My weakness, or letting her know what my weakness was. My weakness was I wanted to be a family man. I wanted to raise my kids because my father didn't do a good job at that. Didn't do any job at that. Again, I wasn't raised by my father, even though my father lived right around the corner from me most of my life in New Jersey. My father was a 10-minute walk around the corner. I was the kid waiting on the porch for him to come when he said he was going to come and never came. So I promised myself I would never do that to my children. And I didn't. I neglected myself for my children. I don't know if they know that, but I was in pain. I didn't just get sick one day. I got sick gradually. Parking lot dad, I come back to that. So I'm reading that pamphlet and I flip it over to the other side. My cousin didn't say a word. She was just watching me read it and looking at my countenance, looking at me, my expression change as I was reading it. And it was true. I had a lot of the characteristics of an abused person. I said, wow. Coincidentally, there was a number on that pamphlet for domestic violence assistance. Their office was downtown Charlotte, right next to the courthouse. I called them the following week because I just didn't know what to do. You know, I was already struggling, trying to go to work, take care of these kids by my house, keep my house going. The recession is starting. It's 2008. I didn't know how I was going to do it by myself. I had people in my job who help babysit the kids for me. Shout out to Gloria Coe if she's still on my site. Thank you, Miss Gloria. I appreciate if I've never told you what you did for me because I needed your help. And I wish I could have paid you more and paid your daughters more, but I'm grateful for what y'all did. I don't know if I've ever told you that. And there was a couple other people who tried to be there for me. People would come by and check on me after they heard what happened. Rudolph, Vanessa Nadeau, she came by. Her and Rudolph came by to see me, check on me at the house. Chish Kago, I think she would call me, check on me. Her and her mom. And let me parking like that. All those people I just mentioned were white people. I find that people always talk about, oh man, you so racist, you hate white people. That's not true. I told y'all I had white friends. I've never been against white people. That's another topic. But I had white friends and I had white people who treated me well. Very few of my black friends checked on me at this time, but my white friends was all there for me. I think Micah Nanini reached out to me at that time. Brother Mark, of course, my brother Mark reached out to me. Mark Johnson, my boy Danny Thompson, Skylar. I know a lot of people at that time came to check on me. My people from Convergence. I worked for Convergence for 10 years. I know a lot of people. I had close ties with a lot of people. And I was always good to people. But anyway, they know a lot. And she worked there for a brief period of time, and a lot of people knew her and knew how she treated me. So she came by. I had to go down to my aunt's house, my Aunt Marion's house, because I had a concussion. They didn't want me to be alone for 24 hours. She stole my car too. And eventually she left my car in some parking lot. My aunt took me to get my car. I had to fight to get my kids back. So anyway, she comes back to the house on Monday. So this was Saturday morning. Sunday, I was in Ruby. Monday morning, I came back. I was embarrassed. I didn't even want to be around my family. I just wanted to go home. My aunt tried to get me to stay longer. I was really trying to get back to work. That's how I dealt with my issues at that time. I just worked. And so she comes by the house Monday, and I was asleep. And she couldn't get in the house, of course. So she calls the police on me, tells the police I went and opened the door for her. I didn't know she was there. So the police called me on my cell phone, asked me to come downstairs and open the door. I said, sure. And they said, you didn't hear us ringing the bell? I said, no, I was upstairs asleep. I'm a hard sleeper. Okay. And what's going on here? I said, well, I don't know. You just woke me up. Well, your wife, she said you wouldn't let her in the house. I said, my wife just assaulted me. I got staples in my head. You guys have a warrant out for her arrest. They said, what? One guy stood and talked to me. The other one went to the car, pulled up her information, and they arrested her on the spot. So this starts the process of going to domestic violence court. And I got a 10-day ex parte order on her, the 50B. After the 10 days, the judge extended it for a year. Then we also had to go to court, to decide what was going to happen. And they asked me in court, the DA came to me, they kind of took me out of the court to the little side room. And do you really want to see your pregnant wife, in jail, giving birth to your son in jail? No, I didn't. This was June at this point. She was 7 months pregnant with Sundiata at this point, too. Sundiata was born July 27th, 2008. No, I didn't. What I told them is I said, I want to see her get some help because there's a problem here. So they said, okay, we can facilitate that. We'll make sure you get some counseling, your children get some counseling, and we're going to put her in a program. And if she doesn't complete the program, we'll come back here and then we'll continue the case. But we're not going to dismiss it until she completes the program. That's what I was told. I agreed to that. None of that happened because the system isn't set up for men to be the victim. They sent me to a program for being a perpetrator. I didn't know where they would send me. I just went to the program and I participated. 6 months I went to that program. They sent her to a program for victims with my kids. They wouldn't even let me in that building to take my kids when they had to go. It was only women and children. I said, but I'm the victim. At the end of that program that I participated in, I thought it was bullshit. But at the end of that program, they tried to get me to write an apology letter to her. And that's why I drew the line. I said, I'm not writing an apology letter to her. She attacked me. So they threatened to send me to jail. I had to go talk to the director of that facility. And nice black lady. When I sat in her office and she said, Van, what's going on? Why won't you participate? Like, you've been here all this time. All you need to do is write this letter to graduate. I said, ma'am, I'm the victim. She says, why are you not supposed to be here? She was supposed to be here. I said, I didn't know that. I just went where they told me to go. Social services told me to go. That lady, she was a black lady. She got mad as hell. She sent me back to the courts. When I get to the courts, I find out they already dismissed the case. Wait a minute. This wasn't supposed to happen. This was nothing to what they promised me. Everything I'm telling you guys is public record. So if anybody doubts what I'm saying, you can go right down in Charlotte Mecklenburg Courthouse and pull the public record. This was 2008. My name is Van Johnson. That's all you need to pull these records. I had already had custody of my kids for a year, but basically she got off with a slap on the wrist, and she eventually got out of jail. She only spent a couple of weeks in jail. Slap on the wrist. She was really in jail because of some traffic tickets. That had nothing to do with me. So the next year was rough for me. So I had to go get my kids. Keep in mind, I don't physically have my kids yet because her sisters is refusing to get, sisters and her mother was refusing to give me my kids back, even though I had a court order from a judge. So my aunt, even my uncle Tommy, when we went out there to go get the kids, we drove out to Albemarle because I didn't want to go out there by myself and some shit really get started. I ain't had no backup, so I took some more mature people with me. I ain't want to take my boys, and I ain't wanted to be, I was concerned about the optics. So ultimately, I drove all over Albemarle and found out from a friend where her sister was living, and that's where they had my kids held up. So finally, it took me some convincing. The police was acting like they didn't want to do nothing. And we went back and forth to the magistrate judge in that town. Like, y'all have to respond to this order. This is a court order. So finally, I convinced the judge to get the sheriff to go out there. They didn't want to open the door for the sheriff. So the sheriff called the fire department and said, look, we're going to have the fire department take this door off the hinges. Finally, they opened up the door. Had my kids hid in some bathroom because they were lying, saying the kids wasn't even there. So they made my kids go stand in the shower in the bathroom so we couldn't hear them through the door, the cops and I. Got my kids, got them home. It was traumatic for them. It was traumatic for me. I remember this time because the Spider-Man movie came out somewhere shortly that summer. And I remember taking my kids. Also, let me stop for a minute. Anybody questions the validity of this story? I've been telling the same story since 2008. I had a blog back then on Flickr. That blog is still live. All you got to do is search Van Johnson Photography, Flickr. You can find my blog. This story is on that blog. You can see the pictures of my head with the gash in my head and the blood, the glass, all of that still there. And the pictures of my kids on how happy they were once I got them back. I took my kids because I wanted to try to get back to normal. So a couple weeks later, I hadn't been out the house. I didn't even go back to work. I had took some time off from work. And I took the kids to see Spider-Man. We went to North Lake Mall. And I didn't realize what was wrong with me. And I was all right while we was in the movie theater because it was dark and there wasn't that many people. Like we went to almost a matinee show. But when we came out, everybody named Mama was in that movie theater. And we was trying to, I was going to take the kids to walk around the mall. That's what we used to do. Dream and imagine. And I just realized my kids, they both grabbed my hand. I was walking. One had one hand, the other had the other hand. And they said, Dad, it's going to be okay. Let's go home. I didn't know why they were saying that to me. Dad, we don't have to walk around the mall. Let's go home. They both were saying it to me, and they was like trying to nurture me. I didn't know what the hell, what's going on. I didn't realize. I was just so nervous to be out around people. Tears was just flooding down my face. I didn't even realize I was crying. It was like an angry cry, And my kids recognized what was happening. You figure at this time, this is 2008, so Dream would have been 8 years old, and Imagine would have been 7. No, she would have been 6. She would have been turning 7, or just turned 7 in July, because her birthday is July 7th, right after my mother's birthday. So I started, I was like, I got to get some help. I got to talk to somebody because I always saw myself as a strong person. I'm a fighter and always been. But this thing is real. This shit is affecting me, and I don't even know what's going on because somebody that's you put your trust in and your love, the 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 connection or the relationship between a husband and a wife, that's something different from other relationships you have. And that was the last person on earth I thought would try to kill me. Because make no mistake, that's what she tried to do. If I wouldn't have got my cousin Tamika on the phone, I was passing out on the phone. They had to revive me and wake me up and shit when I didn't wake up till I got to the hospital. All I remember is the ambulance come rushing in. I don't remember what my cousin was saying. I just remember getting on the phone saying help. And I got hit, and then he hit me over the head with a bottle. That's all I remember. And I remember waking up in the hospital. I could have died with so much blood. I had to get 7 staples. A lot of you may have never known this story. But at this time, this is the beginning of when my health problems. Stress will kill you quicker than anything. It's the silent killer. I know they say blood pressure is the silent killer. No, stress is the silent killer because that's what led to my high blood pressure. I had never had high blood pressure before 2008. Never. I always had low blood pressure because I was an athlete. So we stayed separated almost 2 years at that point, and she convinced me to let her come back. I'm not gonna say she begged. I don't want to paint that picture. She convinced me to let her come back. We need to try to, because again, this is her playing on my weakness. Let's work on our marriage. Let's go to counseling. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I love you, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to Daymar to get treatment. I was diagnosed with bipolar. Yeah, I'm telling the business because I'm tired of the lies. Because that's what they do. They try to shape the narrative to make you look crazy. See, my kids may have never even heard this story, and she got my kids so twisted they don't know what happened. She tells my daughter, like my daughter kind of thinks she was there when this happened. My daughter was not there. Because where was my daughter at this whole time? My daughter says, "Oh, Dad, I was in the car." I said, "What car?" "Your Mustang." You think your mother left you in 100-degree weather or 90-degree weather in a Mustang sitting outside? Why wouldn't she bring you in your own house? That didn't happen, sweetie. You weren't there. Anyway, the police records, imagine, show that you weren't there, baby. She filed a police report against me that same day, trying to tell the police I attacked her, and she had some kind of handprint on her arm, and she took her and her son in the car and left. You weren't there, baby. You can pull up this police report yourself. You're old enough to go get it. One thing Dad has never done is lie to my kids. I try to tell them good, bad, or ugly everything I've done because I don't want nobody to tell my story. That's a big thing. If any of you have been following my videos, especially since I lost my eyesight, A lot of you don't know that. I had a stroke when I turned 40. I was carrying so much stress for years. And this is just one story. I got other stories. This ain't even the first time. This ain't even the only time she tried to kill me. She did it again. Not going to tell that story. But she ran our van into the ditch out in the country on purpose to try to kill both of us. The van was totaled. My Aunt Marion had to get a tow truck to have that van dug out of the cornfield down there in Mount Crockett. If we had been 6 inches to the left, I would have been dead because we would have hit a telephone pole. But I love this woman. I was like Will Smith. I recognize, some of you may have remember, I did a video after the Red Table Talk. And I said, I recognize that face. And what did he say? He said, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get this woman back. And he had that face. His head was kind of tilted to the side a little bit, right? Or this way for the camera, right? And he was a broken man. And I had so much empathy for him. It almost brought me to tears because I was remembering what I went through. But I remember saying to my sister Ashley, I know that face. That was my face. Because you just want to do right. You just want to, why can't this person do the right thing? We got these kids, we married. Why can't this one person just do the right thing? I was carrying so much stress. I ended up losing my house. My grandfather got sick. Lots of things were happening during this time period. And all along, I'm getting sicker and sicker gradually. And I didn't realize this at the time, but kidney disease runs in my family on my grandfather's side. All of the men have had kidney problems. I didn't know this at the time. So gradually my kidney functions are going down. My blood pressure, and we don't know, if the doctors don't know, the nephrologists don't know if my kidneys cause my high blood pressure or my high blood pressure cause my kidneys. But one thing they're sure of is the stress I was under was contributing to all of it. So when I turned 40, I had a stroke. Now, I was doing good. I mean, I was good. I had went on a diet. I had lost 50 pounds. So I was right around 200 pounds at that time. For the first time in my adult life, I'm thinking, damn, I can get under 200 pounds, right? I was too heavy. I was out playing basketball, and I was balling good, y'all. I was balling like a youngster. I was running full course every weekend. Do I gotta sneeze? Hold on. Thought I had to sneeze. I guess it's playing with me. So anyway, we went to the Jay-Z 444 concert. Me and Dream went to a basketball game. I was active. And then I was at work. And at the first sign that week, I just started vomiting uncontrollably at work. And I never had done that before. I had like a little stomach virus. I had got a breakfast sandwich from QT, and everybody was clowning me at work like, man, you don't never eat gas station food. And that's what we thought it was. Later, the next week, I'm at work, and my boss, I remember it was a Thursday. We worked half days on Thursdays and Sundays. I was off on Friday and Saturday. So That Thursday, my boss came to me. He's on here. My manager. When I was at CPI. And he looked at me and said, "Man, you don't look good. You want me to take you to the doctor?" I said, "No, I was having a good sales day and everything." I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm good." He said, "Nah, man, you need to go to the doctor. We off tomorrow. You need to go to the doctor tomorrow." Right? I said, "All right, Mr. Harvey." And I took his advice, and I'm glad. And let me thank you as well, because I know you follow me. Let me thank you. You saved my life too. Because I wouldn't have went to the hospital if you hadn't told me what you told me, and I trusted you. You know, you wouldn't have said that to me if it wasn't serious, you know. So I went to the hospital the next day. Actually, I got up and cut grass. I was waiting for my sister to get off work. And went down to the hospital. When I get to the hospital, they're triaging me, and my blood pressure was like 260 over 140. I felt perfectly fine. Like I said, I got up and cut grass and trimmed the edged up the lawn and everything, you know. But my body was so used to running hot. So being over 200 was nothing for me. I had been running hot all of the time because I had kids to take care of. Because see, I was the breadwinner. Out of them 20 years, she only worked maybe 6. And it wasn't 6 in a row. It was a year here, a year there, 6 months. You know, she never would work anywhere long term. Then when she would work places, it would always be some kind of scandal. She stole a deposit, you know, a bank deposit, or she stole a girl's pocketbook from Converges, fucked up, you know, some bank account issues with Wells Fargo. It was always some bullshit. Always accusing me of sleeping with somebody when I wasn't on the jobs and causing problems on the jobs for me. This is the manipulations. This is the violence. This is mental abuse. Because I had no rest. The only place I couldn't go home and rest, and I couldn't go to work and rest. So only time I really got rest is when I was doing overtime, right? Plus, I'm doing all this stuff at home. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, just like I cook now. I always cook. I'm washing all of the clothes, taking care of kids. I'm doing all of this stuff. It's never enough. It's never enough. That's what Joe Brown said last night. No matter, you could never do enough. Some other content creators have said the same thing. You can never do enough for these women who are like this. Now, I minored in psychology, but I'm not a psychologist or a therapist. I don't want to do this diagnosis shit that everybody in the hood likes to do now. But she displays narcissistic tendencies. If you look up the definition, a lot of the things I'm talking about is what a narcissist does. They only care about themselves. They put themselves above everybody, including their children. They say the right things, and they appear to be normal people, and they be likable people. Remember, Jeffrey Dahmer was a likable person. His neighbors loved him. But he was chopping motherfuckers up in his house. Right? I hope y'all with me. I hope I'm not boring y'all. I'm telling this story. I'm telling my story because I've been telling Will's story. So it's only fair I tell my story because I, more than most people, understand Brother Will. Somebody share this shit with him. You got to get away from her, brother, and I'm going to come back to that. So I'm up in the hospital because they admitted me. They didn't even take me to an emergency room. They took me straight upstairs. I was in Presbyterian Hospital. They stopped talking to me. They was talking to my sister like, how did he get here? Did you have to carry him in? I wish I had another camera. Shalom, most high in Christ blessed. Say what? Ain't no dodging the saints. What that mean? Oh, you said dodging the saints. Oh, brother, man, look, we was playing tag last night. Hey, but listen, I'm doing a live video right now. Let me finish this video. I'll call you back. You at work? You at work or where you at? Yeah, I'll call you back. Let me finish this video. This is a good video. All right, shalom. I'm sorry, man. The brother been trying to call me, man, to check on me, man. And what he just told me is ain't no dodging the saints. Yeah, you're right about that, my brother. That's brother Ryan, y'all. So I got admitted into the hospital. For some reason, I didn't have my glasses on me, in my hand. I think I gave my glasses, I left them in my car because I drove myself to the hospital. Keep in mind, I might have left them in the car at this point. So I'm admitted. I got admitted. I was there 2 weeks, I think, and they was asking me questions. How's your eyesight? Are you okay? I'm like, well, I don't have my glasses. My vision's a little blurry. Of course, I don't have my glasses. Well, when you get out, make sure you go to your eye doctor. I'm like, all right, okay. I had a spiritual awakening in the hospital. I had always been a biblical person all my life. You can go back on my timeline 10, 12 years and see me post the scriptures. I was always aware of the Bible. My grandfather was a church treasurer and a deacon and all of that kind of stuff. My family are heavy church people, so I always grew up around that. My father and my brothers are Muslim. So I had to kind of grow up uniquely with two different perspectives. I got Christians and Muslims in my family, so I always found myself seeking other answers because I wasn't getting the answers. There was something just not quite right. I kind of felt like Neo in the Matrix. I couldn't put my finger on it, but something wasn't right. So I'm laying up in the hospital by myself. And I started searching for answers. And I found Bishop Nathaniel. And I started watching. Finally, for the first time in my life, I'm getting answers to questions I've had all my life, biblical questions. I said, where are these brothers at? What? How come I'm confused? Like, what? Why haven't I been exposed to them before now? I grew up in Jersey. I was always in New York, and it wasn't my time. I tell people this story about me having a stroke, and people always go, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. No, my stroke was a blessing from God. Some of y'all gonna be confused about what I'm saying here. See, God was trying to make me see things all the time. And I kept fighting what he was trying to show me. He kept trying to remove this woman from my life, and I kept bringing her back. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. I kept bringing her back. So God finally said, okay, you ain't gonna listen to me. I'm gonna make you see what I want you to see. So he took my eyesight from me. I have what is called retinopathy. I'm legally blind, y'all. I can see a little bit, but I don't see well enough to drive. It's very extremely difficult for me to use a computer. I think I've used a computer halfway for like twice in the last 5 or 6 years. And y'all know I was a computer person, right? So that forced me into retirement and on disability. And then about 6 months after that, my kidneys started to fail. I went from stage 3 to stage 5 renal failure. And stage 5 is what they call end stage. Meaning if I don't go on dialysis, within 6 months, I would have been dead, y'all. I'm on dialysis now. I go 3 days a week. I've been doing it for 3 years. Well, it's been more than 3 years now, actually. A lot of y'all don't know that about me. But I'm great now. This is what I had to go through, that pain, them last hurdles to get me to where I'm at now. Because right now, believe it or not, with the exception of my vision and me going to dialysis, I'm more healthy now than I have been in 20 years. I'm at a healthy weight. My eating has always been good because I always cooked. So they didn't change my diet too much. I had a potassium imbalance when I first went on dialysis and got with my nutritionist. So they took bananas and orange juice and tomatoes and lettuce from me. All the shit I was eating, they took from me. But I had to eat steak and chicken. She said, eat all the steak and chicken you can. I was like, really? I thought he was going to put me on some veggie diet. No, you need protein. So this is why I tell you, young brothers, stop listening to people with all this CMOS and voodoo shit. Go to a fucking doctor. You got insurance, go to a doctor. Get a specialist for you, whatever your condition is. Get a nutritionist. Let them pull some blood work on you and tell you what your condition is. Because me eating salad was killing me. Me drinking water, because my body can't drain water. I'm limited to how much water I can drink a day. That's 32 ounces. Well, I was drinking gallons of water. Go back to them videos I used to make. You always see me with a jug of water. I was killing myself, and the water was building up on my legs, and I couldn't walk. It was painful for me to walk, right? And it was building up on my lungs. I didn't know this. I know this now, but at the time, I didn't know. It's a sidebar. Go to the doctor, man. I don't care. You cough funny, your pinky, your toe, whatever. I don't care. Go to the damn doctor. I don't care how old you are. If you have insurance, that's what saved my life. Listen to Jamal Harvey. He told me, go to the doctor. I listened to him. That was God speaking to me through Jamal. Because see, that's how God works. He shut me down. I'm going to make you see what I want you to see. And I see so clearly now. Things I didn't see before. And my spiritual understanding is off the charts compared to what it was before. Scriptures I have been reading all my life, now I got an understanding for them. Because see, I have been reading them. And I knew the Bible well. And I knew Bible history, so I thought. When I got with the brothers of IUIC, Israel United in Christ, when I got with them, because see, I followed them for a couple of years because I wasn't strong enough to go see them. So I followed them. Everything they did, I studied it. I bought the books that they told us to buy, and they were reviewing. I studied everything. And y'all don't understand how hard it is for me to read a book. If I can't find a digital copy of it, I got to take pictures of it and do it. Because I can't read a book no more with my own eyesight, but I can use my phone because my phone screen is giant size. I can zoom in and stuff. That's how I deal with my handicap. right? But I always like the feel of books. I hate digital books, so I always buy the hard copies of books. Me being the author and everything, I've always liked to have a physical copy of a book. My first book was Negative Acceleration. I wrote that in the 90s. And coincidentally, I never had a hard copy of my own book. I had everything on a disc, on a floppy disk at that time. The publisher of that book went out of business, and my mother-in-law sold my computers, so I lost all my work, my manuscript of my book, of that book. So that's, if anybody got a copy of that book, please send me a copy of that book, Negative Acceleration. That was the book that got me the scholarship to USC Honors College. See, even way back then, I predicted all this shit. I predicted the revolution would not be televised, it would be streamed, I said. That's what we're seeing today. But anyway, that's another topic. I've always been a jack of all trades. So it's frustrating for me, things I can't do anymore, especially basketball. Especially, I think I can do my photography. I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm going to take it one day at a time. Because for me, photography is mechanical. I don't need to look in the camera. It's all mechanical for me. I walk into a room and I start doing calculations in my head instinctively. What aperture I need to be at, what speed I need to be at, what's the lighting, what I need to do over here. I've been doing photography since I was 9, 10 years old, so it's all instinctive. So I think I can still doing photography is not the problem. Editing my pictures is going to be the challenge on the computer, but I'll cross that bridge when I can. Writing another book, which I want, I'm going to try. If I got to do it on my notepad, I'm going to do it that way. So the next book I'm planning on writing, I plan on getting that book out by the first of the year. Don't hold me to that. That's going to be the young man's money plan. I'm going to do a book because I'm concerned about these boys, which is another reason this topic concerns me so much. Because everybody's talking about Jada's feelings. Fuck Jada. Fuck Will. Let's talk about Chris Rock. Chris Rock matters. Okay? Hashtag Chris Rock matters. These boys matter as well. Because what example did these two black men or this one black man, let's not do false equivalency and say these was two men going at it. This is one man who assaulted another man. And Chris Rock ate that slap. Boy, man, Chris Rock must have got a steel jaw. Ooh, that boy tough. He ate that, or Will got a punk ass smack, whatever. So anyway, I'm getting long-winded. But y'all got to rock with me. This is going to be a long one, y'all. It's going to be a long one because I want to be candid. I want y'all to know who your boy V. Ben Israel is. Okay, see, Van Johnson is my Greek name, but my Hebrew name is V. Ben Israel. I'm eventually going to legally change my name to V. Ben Israel. So, where was I? I'm following the brothers. I found Bishop Nathaniel. And I started watching all of the brothers, the deacons, the officers, the captains. And I remember the first time I could find them, I realized they was here in Charlotte. I was like, oh shit. I'm not driving and it's hard for me to get there, but I took an Uber downtown on the Sabbath day and I spoke to the brothers and they told me where the school was. And unfortunately, the school was out of my reach at that time, which was in Concord. I didn't know how I was going to get there. I had no idea how I was going to get to Concord. Now, shortly after that, or a little while later, I'm living in Indian Trail. Now I'm further away from the school, but I'm healthier. I'm more mobile at that time. Still hard for me to walk. Even today, I get pain when I walk over a certain amount of distance. But I'm not going to stop walking because I got to fight through that pain because I've seen people who give up, they end up on walkers. That's not going to be me anytime soon. So I fight through it. I keep exercising my legs and I go for my walks. I track my steps. So I remember first time I went to the school. Oh, it was an amazing sight, man. But let me tell you, I caught an Uber from Indian Trail, from Brandon Oaks and Indian Trail to Matthews. I caught the bus from Matthews to downtown. From downtown, I caught the train all the way up to the university area. From UNCC, I caught the bus that goes to Concord, into Concord, to the school. This whole trip probably took me about 5 hours for me to get from Indian Trail to the school. And it was cold. And I started going to the school every Saturday. I did it. I couldn't afford to do it every Saturday, but I did it as much as I could afford. And the brothers would ask me, wait a minute, how you getting like you're coming all the way from where? One of the brothers asked me, brother Hezekiah, he's down in Texas now. Him and his wife started dropping me off down in downtown. And he made it easier for me because I would stay there and the buses in Concord stopped running after 7 p.m. So I would have to take an Uber all the way back to Indian Trail, which was $40. I couldn't afford to do that. So if I did that twice, that's $80 right there. I couldn't afford to do that. But I went as much as I can, and then and I still go as much as I can. They've moved the school to Gastonia, which is way more difficult for me. But I try to ride with Brother Ryan as much as I can. But COVID has changed some things up. Another story. But they saved my life. And the brothers, I remember, they got in my ass. And they shared some scriptures with me. And they told me what I was doing wrong. And I'm trying to tell them what she was doing. Hey, nah, we don't want to hear that. Here's what you was doing wrong. So the first scripture they shared with me is Sirach 7:26, King James Version. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her bands in her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. I was in sin, y'all. I should have been left that woman and got rid of her. I was in sin because I didn't escape from her. I was caught. It's a mental thing. And they play on your mental. It's not physical. They abuse you mentally and they use your kids right now to this very moment. My two oldest children I've talked to my daughter once or twice, but they haven't really seen me in person in 3 years. My oldest son has talked to me in 3 years, so almost 4 years now. Not because of what I did, but because how he was manipulated by his mother, because how he was weaponized by his mother. Right? And it hurts. I'll make no mistake. It's like having a knife in my back and somebody's constantly twisting it. Anybody knows me knows I love my children. If I haven't been good in anything in my life, I was a great father. Had been a great father. Always went hard for my kids. And there was days I was in pain and I went to work for my kids. I didn't go to work for me. I went to work for them. She had one of her side dudes steal my car, and I didn't have a car. I had to walk to work, and I ended up having to walk 14 miles a day. It was 7 miles each way to the bus stop. But I had to do it because my son was on probation. And if I didn't pay his probation, he would have went to jail. And I'd be damned if my 15-year-old son was going to have a felony. So I had to pay that probation. I walked in the winter. Plaza Extension. Anybody knows Charlotte from Hood Road? Well, really from Reedy Creek Plantation. That school right there. That's where I was living in that neighborhood, all the way up to the plaza where I could catch the bus at. Okay, that's past W.T. Harris. It's 7 miles. 7 miles both ways. I did it every day without complaint from December to March when I bought my BMW. Right? She was her little side dude was a repo man, and she gave him the spare set of keys, and he stole my car. How do I know this? I know this without a fact because I had a pair of glasses. My sports goggles was in my truck, my Jeep, right? When it was stolen. So later on, after it got stolen, those glasses, she ended up giving those glasses to my son Dream. How did he get those glasses? They were in my Jeep. She had that dude steal my spilled milk. Abuse, domestic violence, financial violence. There was days I didn't have enough money for lunch because I was giving her money for my other 3 kids, and I was paying Dream's probation, and I was paying my daughter's phone bill because they were living in Albemarle, and I wanted to be able to communicate with my kids, so I made sure Imagine had a phone. I'm sure she lied to Imagine and told Imagine that she was paying for that phone. I paid for that phone. I paid the probation, every dollar of it. She didn't help me 1 cent. She actually took her tax money that year, and instead of paying the probation off, she bought some nigga a car and drove it to his wife's house. How do I know that? Because she admitted it. See, that's what they do. They bold. Just like Jada goes out on the red table and admits, yeah, I fucked August. My ex-wife was doing the same shit. Same shit. That's how I relate to it. I loved her, but it was more about my kids for me. I wanted to give my kids what I didn't have. But the brothers pointed out to me what I was doing wrong. If I wanted to please God, I should have escaped her. And that's why I was in sin, and that's why I got judged. And that's why I got my punishment. It was my eyesight and my kidneys. So let me share some other scriptures with y'all. First Ezra 4 and 26 through 27. I'm sorry, my eyes I gotta adjust my screen. The light is coming in from the sun just started shining in, and my eyesight gets funky, so just bear with me, y'all. I'm having trouble focusing right now. I'm sorry. I had to dim it. Let me see if I can muddle through this. Yeah, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished, have erred, and have sinned for women. This is what's going on with Will right now. He's outside of his wits. He's an intelligent man. He's an accomplished man. But he's outside of his wits because he's caught in those nets and snares. Right? And it's causing him, eventually it's going to cause him to perish. It's going to cause him to err. That's what he just did. He erred. He made a calculated mistake. He should not have done what he did. God don't hear me. And he sinned. What was his sin? He didn't escape from this wicked woman. That is a sin. Thus saith the Lord. Have y'all forgotten already? And I find it more bitter than death, the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her. Shall escape from her. Shall. It ain't optional. Shall. That's how you know it's a commandment. Shall escape from her. But the sinner shall be taken by her. Will is taken from her. Thank God I was able to escape mine. $20 years. Will's been married, what, 25, 30 years? Something like that. He's been married since the 90s, right? They got married in, what, 96? We're talking about like 30 years. I get it. You got a lot of time invested in her image, in your family image. I get it. But what is your family without you, brother? What would your family be? If Chris Rock wasn't so gracious, he could have damn near destroyed your family. Just like Jim Carrey said, he would have sued you for $200 million. Will Smith's net worth is only $300 million. So what would have happened? Let's say Rock would have sued him for $200 million and he would have won, right? Probably would have won more, but let's just say 200, right? That means Will got 100 left. You know Jada ain't staying. She out. So she's going to get half or more. So his $300 million legacy just turned into $50 million or less. Do y'all see? And this ain't all women. And I shouldn't have to say this, but some of y'all, when y'all hear me talk about women, y'all want to extrapolate it out to he hate all women. No, I hate bitches like this. I hate them with a passion because God hates them. We turn to the book of Sirach 25 and 16. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. Y'all heard me bring that scripture out before. If this is your first time, that's the book of Sirach 25 and 16. Practice makes perfect. That's why I bring out some of the same scriptures over and over. I want y'all to get this in your head. If God is saying it's better to be with two men eating a lion, two men eating animals, a lion and a damn dragon. Two of the most vicious animals on the earth, ever to walk the earth, than to be in a house with a wicked woman. Because see, we see what she does to him publicly. I could only imagine the torment that goes on within that house. Remember, she was screwing the dude in his house, in his bed, and then comes out and admits it. That ain't no open marriage, y'all. That ain't how open marriages work, first of all. And that open marriage nonsense, that's just him trying to cover up her infidelity. But it doesn't change infidelity. Open marriage is just the new age way of saying adulterous marriage. That's what it is. It's adultery. Nonetheless, that's what it is. Just because you don't have You swear before God when you take your marriage vows. You can't turn them on and off when you want to. That's not how it works. Oh, because I knew about the infidelity. It wasn't infidelity. That's the simping. My version of simping was that I made excuses for her from with my kids. Mommy would be doing crazy shit. I talked to my kids and no, mommy just had to go help grandma. Grandma was sick. I would make up all kind of bullshit. I would tell other people in my family, no, where Nene at? Oh, she had to go help a mama. And then my people looking at me, well, why she had to go? Don't she got two sisters and brother that live out there? Why she had to go? What's she gonna do? They were right. But I knew it, but I was trying to cover it. And it wasn't just one man. She had 4 or 5 relationships, long-term relationships going on simultaneously at the same time. One of those men, she ended up having another child with. See, a lot of people don't know that because she tried to hide that pregnancy by going down there to live down there at my grandfather's house while she was pregnant. And then when she had the baby, as soon as she had the baby, she ran back to Albemarle. She gave the baby up for adoption. Mm-hmm. A lot of y'all don't know that. See, she and I were separated at that time. We were still legally married, but we were separated. So I knew it wasn't my baby. But see, now the truth would have came out because see, the lies she had been telling and the manipulations is that Van is the cheater. Van is always running the streets, right? But now how you get pregnant? She didn't want to answer them questions. So she had that baby hid down there in South Carolina, away from her people, out there in the woods. And as soon as she spit that baby out, she gave it up for adoption and went right back to Albemarle. That's the manipulations. So my kids have a sister that they don't know. It was all about protecting her. Because see, in gynocracy, she's on top of everybody. In the hyenas, a pack of hyenas, the female is on top of everybody. Right? Proverbs 27:15. A continual dropping. Hey, I'm doing a live video right now. Hello. Hello. I'm doing a live video right now. I'll call you back. All right. So I told y'all before, man. I don't know how many times I got to prove this. Every time I get on the phone or start doing these videos, somebody always want to call me. My phone hadn't ring all day. A continual dropping in a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. That's the drops just falling on your head. That's the aggravation. Bloop, bloop. They won't stop. It's continual. She always got something going. Jada can't shut the fuck up. She always got to keep things stirred up. That's what it's talking about. She's contentious. Contentious is somebody who's quick to argue and debate, or their behavior causes argument and debate, or their speech causes argument and debate. That's Jada Pinkett. She always got to be in a controversy. This is why the joke that Chris Rock told in 2016 was actually funny. Because nobody wanted to see Jada. Nobody cared if she boycotted. Nobody was going to come and see Jada anyway. Who the fuck is Jada? She ain't even a B-list actress. She's a C-list actress at best. She's had a couple little roles here and there. None of them lasted long periods of time. She had one TV show that she was the primary character on. She had a pretty hip role on that Gotham. She was the boss, in Gotham, which was hip. I thought that was a good role for her. She also had a haircut low then too. And Other than that, who? Ain't nobody paying to see Jada. That's why all of this alopecia bullshit. Oh, it was public record. Who the fuck is keeping up with Jada? Didn't nobody know? It don't even matter. So what? It wasn't a joke. It wasn't an insult. It was a compliment. And if she had been smart, she would have parlayed that. This is what Will should have did. He should have stood up, or as he shouted out, say, "Yeah, brother, let's get together and make that movie." And that would have probably resurrected Jada's career. That would have resurrected it. Could you imagine if Jada had did G.I. Jane 2? That was a brilliant fucking idea. In the modern era, oh man, that'd have been great. That would have been great. Will and Rock got together, put the money up, just like they did King Richard. They could have did a story like that. Would have been great. Would have been fantastic. So where's the insult? Had he did that, we wouldn't even be talking like this right now. But he erred. See, Will has been emasculated. And emasculate is to deprive of strength, vigor, or spirit, to weaken. And that's what it's all about. They want to weaken you and beat you down. They want to take your spirit from you. They want to humble you. And that's what these type of women want. They always want to do to men. And they'll use the kids to do it. Because they know that's a weakness for men, is the kids. See, these lies that have been told in the black community that black men are leaving. It's not the men that are leaving, it's the women who have been leaving. And they've been using these kids as weapons. And they've been living off of these kids too. Financially, we need to start telling the truth and coming out. Because see, 40% of women had no income. So how they surviving? How they got an apartment? Go to blackdemographics.com and pay attention. More black women had zero income or less than 20,000 than went to college. So that we're the most educated is lie. It's a lie. It's a trope. It's fake. It's not true. Black women are the least educated demographic of women in this country. The least. Because when you look, we don't look at enrollment rates. Men measure stuff by results, graduation. That's what we measure by. Just attending college don't mean you're educated. You ain't completed your education. You don't get credit for it. So we go by graduation rates. First Timothy 3:5. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? This is Will's problem. He don't know how to rule his own house. See, this is something I didn't struggle with. I kick her ass out of my house. You had to go. But where I failed, I would always let it come back in. That was my failure. But Will has no control in his house. The woman is fucking all over his house, fucking the son's friends and talking shit, doing red tables. He need to go home and set that red table on fire live on camera. Burn that motherfucker down. Deuteronomy 23. He that is wounded in the stones, or have his privy member cut off, shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. He up there talking about God is wanting me to. No, God don't want shit from you. You in sin, brother. God ain't working with you. That's what, like I said the other night, like medicine balls. She done cut your balls off and juggling them shits. Y'all remember them old silver metal medicine balls everybody used to juggle? I'm gonna give me a pair of those. I used to like those. They relaxing. I used to keep them on desk at work. Yeah, she juggling his balls. She keep him right in that little box, that little oriental box. Instead of them silver medicine balls, she got Will Smith balls. She just take them out and juggle them when she wants. You ain't doing God's work. You doing the devil's work. See, Denzel told you right. At your highest moment, that's when the devils will appear. That is true. But you thought the devil was Chris. The devil is your wife. That's who the devil is. They appear in a pleasing form. That's how the devil does. That's how the devil shows up in a form that's very pleasing to you. Chris Rock ain't pleasing to you. Your wife. That's that devil. She been in your life all of this time on your back, weighing you down. You probably weigh about 400 pounds a day. What was that movie? Shudder. It was a Japanese movie where the spirit of the Asian girl just kept hanging on to the dude's back. So when he stepped on the scale, this little man who was about 150 pounds ended up being like 400 pounds. And they couldn't figure out why. Because the spirit at the end of the movie, you found out that the spirit was just hugging him and just staying on his back the whole time. That's Jada. That's what Jada doing. Sirach 33:19. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and friend, power over thee while thou livest, and give not thy goods to another, lest it repent thee, and thou entreat for the same again. You ain't supposed to give nobody power over you, Will. You giving this woman all the power because she know your weakness is you never gonna divorce her. That's your weakness, and that's what you got to overcome. As long as you won't divorce her, and don't give me the God shit. Because again, if you're trying to please God, you got to escape from her. That's what God is telling you to do, or you're going to be in sin. You got to get rid of her to save your own soul, brother. Because see, Christ told you, what you lose in his sake, you're going to get back tenfold. You got to have faith, brother, but you got to do the works too. That's the faith you got to have. You got to have faith in what Christ told you to do. See, y'all just like to go around God, make up all of this bullshit Christianity, white man philosophy that they've been selling y'all in these black churches to get money out of y'all all of these decades and centuries. But they ain't telling you what the Bible actually says. Deuteronomy 23. No, I read that one already. I'm sorry. I lost my place. Proverbs. Here's Jada's problem. This is how you know she a wicked woman. You don't know. I got something for y'all too. Proverbs 14. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. Jada is destroying her own house, and she don't care about her kids. She don't care about her husband, because she knows the system is set up to help her. So even if he leaves her, she gets half the money if they ain't got no prenuptial, right? It's a win-win for her. She can fuck over this man and embarrass him and destroy his legacy, and he still got to cut her a check. That's the disadvantage. See, y'all women talk about equality. Y'all want to make it fair, then protest against that shit. March against that. Help change the laws against that. Because that ain't fair. We all know who been making the money is Will. Jada ain't contribute to that. Them kids she ain't been home raising no kids. She been at home fucking the kids' friends. So don't give me that, oh, she helped Will and built Will up and nah, bullshit. She been running around hoeing and starting trouble for 30 years and chasing Pop, chasing the ghost of Pop. Sirach 26:10. If thy daughters be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. Jada is shameless. She has no shame. So what do you do with women like that? You're supposed to keep them in straightly. Put them rails on them so they can't go too far to the left or too far to the right. That's what it means to keep them in straightly. Why? Because you got to protect them from themselves, not from Chris Rock. Jada don't need protection from Chris Rock. She wasn't in no danger because of Chris Rock. She was in danger because of herself, her own behavior, because she got too much liberty, too much freedom, too much red table, too much gynocracy, too much hyenaism, too much feminism. That's the liberty. That's what's destroying her, or it got her in this devilish state. And that's what's going to end up destroying Will. He's going to explode. He's going to bust. Your body can't sustain it. He's going to stroke out like I did. Or worse. My father was under stress. And at 59 years old, my father dropped dead. My father was at my house the Thursday before he died. He had been driving back and forth from Charlotte to Raleigh. He was moving down here from Raleigh to here. He had got a job at Johnson C. Smith. He was a chef. I said, Pop, don't drive like that. Just stay at the house. Nah, I'll be all right. I said, man, you can't do that. You're not used to driving like that. They found him Sunday morning. He couldn't even make it to his bed. He was at the foot of his bed on the floor. They found him dead. Stress killed my father. Fuck what my brother's talking about with that flu shot nonsense, all that conspiracy theory. Stress killed my father. The coroner's report had nothing to say about no flu shot. How do I know that? Because I'm the one who got the coroner's report. I'm his only legal child. I got his estate in control. My father died from stress. Don't anybody who knew my father spud. He died from stress. You driving 8 hours, 4 hours one way, 4 hours one way. You're working 8 hours or more. My father wasn't a driver. He ain't never drove that much in his life. Stress will kill you, my brother. And I pray this, man. I pray Will Smith finds understanding. I'm going to cut him off until then, though. I ain't fucking with Will no more. So he repent, I can't do it. I can't deal with him. That's just the way it got to be, my brother. I will not watch another Will Smith movie. Nothing. And I love Will Smith, man. It's heartbreaking. I shared something that somebody else wrote. I didn't mean to do that. Isaiah, the book of Isaiah 3:16. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and menacing as they go and making twinkling or tinkling with their feet. Therefore, the Lord will smite with a scab of the will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. That's why she got alopecia. See, she gets judged too, and it's God don't play. She's getting judged too. That alopecia, that's right there. You don't believe me? Read it for yourself. Isaiah 3:16. If this ain't describing Jada Pinkett right now in this current moment, y'all blind. Y'all just can't see it. Hardy. I broke that word down before. Um, that's not a word typically black people use. So I'm just going to read the definition and I'm going to close out. Okay. Let me pull up Webster's. Pull up good old Webster's. Trusted since 1828. All right. Hardy. Blatantly and disdainfully proud. Having or showing an attitude of superiority and contempt for people or things perceived to be inferior. That's Jada Hardy. She sees Will as inferior to her, and damn sure inferior to Tupac. She's proud, blatantly proud. Oh boy, y'all better start paying attention to this Bible being a true book. Y'all don't hear me though. That's all I got. I ran long. I hope this personal story I shared with you. In closing, I am great, y'all. I'm in peace now. I have peace. I didn't have peace for 20 years. Now I wake up every day peaceful, and my health is good, and I have a good relationship with my two youngest kids. My oldest kids, I wish they'd come back because they need. This is a time in their life that they need me, especially my son, Green, my daughter. They both need me now. I can't help them financially like I could before, but they need me. There's things I can do, and they need to reach out to me. Um, this woman did a lot of things to separate me and my daughter. She lied to my daughter. She made it so I couldn't go to my daughter's graduation, and that broke my heart because I missed my son didn't get to walk because of attendance. So I was very much so looking forward to seeing Imagine walk. And when she prevented me at the last minute from going, and she did it at the last minute, very spiteful, um, it broke my heart. It broke my heart. And I sat in the house all day, just sulking. And my sister Ashley reached out to me when she got off work because I had been blowing everybody's phone up. And she finally had called me when she got off work at 7. Hey, man, what's up? Have you eaten? I said, man, I ain't ate shit. I couldn't eat. She came and picked me up, took me out to Outback so I could get something to eat. But my wife turned that around and made it seem like I missed my daughter's graduation because I wanted to go eat at Outback. I go to Outback like McDonald's. It ain't shit. But that's the lie. That's the manipulation that she did to my daughter. That's what my daughter believes to this day. You know, and it's not true. I got up and walked to dialysis, walked a mile to dialysis that morning at 5 o'clock in the morning just so I could go to her graduation. And when I wasn't able to go, I still think about it. I mean, that's all I wanted my kids to. That's one of the reasons I stayed in it as long as I did. I wanted to get Dream and Imagine through school. But that was my failure because by me not escaping and taking my kids with me, they got caught in her snares and nets too. And they're not able to prosper as young women and a young woman and young man in their 20s the way they should be now because of her. Because she's living off of them and mooching off of them. Because see, that's what women do. They use their kids as a financial plan. All that strong, independent bullshit, right? All she had to do was participate and come into subjection. We already had the 3 kids at that point, the dog, The house on the cul-de-sac, 2,500 square foot house, right? The garage, the dog. All she had to do was just do the right thing. But they can't do it. They're busybodies. And it took that. My kids were supposed to grow up on a cul-de-sac. That's where they were supposed to grow up. They were supposed to be able to go to college if they wanted to, if they had two parents working together. Well, that's my story, man. That's my story. Comments, questions, share it, donate, whatever y'all want to do. I got to get off of here. It's getting late in the afternoon. And I'll holler at your boy. Be Business Real is out. Peace.